Uh,
New York sports happenings, talk about it here. The Fan, 1019 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Keith McPherson on the Fan, 1019 FM, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
yeah. Okay. Lil Sunday Sauce and emphasis on a little. Quick 2-hour show here. Keith McPherson on the Fan. It's still bright out. Happy Sunday. Let's have a little Sunday fun day, little powwow. Let's talk about everything as I take you up to Brooklyn Nets basketball. 888-808-1019. I'd like to talk about everything quickly, and then I got to go home, pack up, and get ready to fly down to Tampa, where you just heard Dave and Susan. How great is it to hear Dave and Susan, two all-time pros? So much knowledge, so much experience. We're in good hands there. I can't wait for the season to start. But as baseball season is about to start, the basketball season is winding down, and let's start with the Knicks last night, man. Let's start with the Knicks game last night, man. I went to bed before it ended, and then I woke up to see kind of like the aftermath of the loss. And, you know, they were competing with the Warriors. They were playing with the Warriors. Obviously, the theme going into the game was like, are they going to do anything to Draymond? How's Draymond Green going to respond to, like, I don't know. It just, the NBA is so dramatic. It's always about these storylines. I think TNT's tagline is TNT, more drama. I'm like, yeah, that's perfect that they play NBA games on TNT. Nothing really happened. Obviously, you saw Karl Anthony Towns get kind of tied up with him and get into some foul trouble, and Karl Anthony Towns kind of mouthing some things at him. But, you know, the biggest thing with the Knicks, and, you know, they lose 97-94 to Golden State, low scoring. And I know I woke up and I was thinking, like, Josh Hart scores maybe a couple buckets. That's the difference. But really, Jalen Brunson might have been the difference in them closing out and winning that game, because that's what they're missing right now. They're missing their closer. They're missing their leader. They're missing the guy that takes the ball in the fourth quarter and refuses to lose. 888-808-1019. And now we've heard that Brunson is out the rest of this month and won't be back until early April. But, like, that's what his timeline should be. He shouldn't be back to maybe he shouldn't be back until maybe there's like 2 or 3 games before the playoffs. But now thinking about the playoffs, right? Everything has been leading up to this Knicks team getting further than last year in these playoffs. And as much as we'd like to see it, as much as you're rooting for it, hoping for it, when you look at the NBA and you look at the NBA standings, you know, and I know, they are up there in record. But even last night, losing to a team like the Warriors, right? A team like the Warriors, they're champions. They have Steph Curry, one of the greatest of all time. They have Draymond, one of the greatest agitators of all time. And, like, you know, that's the thing with the Knicks, right? They don't have a real agitator. They don't have a disruptor. They don't have a guy that pisses other guys off and a tough guy that's going to get other guys under guys' skin, right? I remember when the Yankees traded for Josh Donaldson, who was absolutely cooked. A lot of people talked about, oh, they need a guy with attitude. They need a guy that's going to stir the pot like that. No, you don't. In baseball, you don't. In basketball, you do. There's 5 guys on the floor at a time, and there's a tone that gets set. And the way that they officiate the game now has changed. You know, I was listening to E.J. Stewart this morning when I was in the gym. He was on last night, and he was talking about the 90s Knicks and how the 90s Knicks, and everybody goes back to those 90s Knicks team and how tough they are, and or how tough they were and how consistent they were, and how, you know, when you came into the Garden, guys like Charles Oakley, you know, Patrick Ewing, and Anthony Mason, like, you got to a point where you knew, you know, they represented New York City, and you weren't coming in there and doing anything against them without having to pay for it. Well, these Knicks, they're all nice guys. I mean, you add PJ Tucker to the team, and PJ Tucker's dapping up Draymond after the game, hugging him. Karl Anthony Towns walks off after the game, clearly probably upset, one, losing, two, fresh in his mind that like, hey, I got to face Draymond, and after all the things he said, like, I'm not gonna give him any respect. I'm not dapping him up after the game's over. Like, they always talk about the NBA, these guys being too buddy, these guys being too cool with each other, these guys hanging out in the offseason, right? PJ Tucker on his Instagram post a picture of him and Jimmy Butler someone took from the stands, and he's like, my brother in real life. Bro, you're on a 10-day with the Knicks. Do you want to continue here? Do the Knicks want to continue here? Because just in this last week, there's been a little bit of turmoil, a little bit of strife, a little bit of challenging the man in charge. And everybody wants to talk about minutes. And the two guys that play the most minutes are the two guys that kind of ended up, in the media as far as challenging Tom Thibodeau. Mikal Bridges, where after the shoot around or whatever, he said, yeah, I talked to Tibbs about the minutes and playing the bench. And like, speaking of the bench, like, the Knicks have been struggling with their bench all year. 4 points from the bench, it's not going to get it done. It's not. And like, that's why Tommy Tibbs doesn't want to play his bench, but you know what happened. And then they had a closed door meeting, behind closed doors, they spoke about it. And then they came out, and after he, the coach says he didn't talk to Mikal Bridges, then they did talk, whatever. And then when I wake up this morning and I see the heated exchange, and then of course, Tom Thibodeau played that down too. But I mean, that was a heated exchange. You got Josh Hart now implicated. Josh Hart, who never comes off the floor, never wants to come off the floor. He's got his arms out to the side. Tom Thibodeau's got his eyebrows, got the mad eyebrows emoji going. I think some F-bombs might have been exchanged. Landry Shamet steps up. One of the other coaches get in. So, like, there's some trouble in paradise. And where it seems like it's headed is another second-round exit, and then fans calling for the head coach to be fired, let go, and then for the players potentially to want to move in a different direction as well. You got those Villanova guys there. I've seen Jay Wright at the Garden. Jay Wright, where you at? Jay Wright, you ready? You ready to lead the Nova Knicks? March Madness. Jay Wright, where you at? 888-808-1019. It's just like, we are going through the motions with the Knicks. They can't beat elite teams. Brunson is hurt. Now he's got to come back and carry for a little bit on this road trip. You saw Mikal Bridges emerge. So then people start asking, is he better without Brunson? Well, it doesn't matter if he's better without Brunson. He's on Brunson's team. This is Brunson's team. He's the captain. He's the guy. And they got to figure it out when he comes back. But that's just a bad look to see them out there at the Chase Center. They get face-to-face with Draymond after Draymond disrespected Karl Anthony Towns while he was away dealing with a family matter, a death in the family. And Draymond goes on his podcast and questions this guy, questions his toughness, questions where he is, and acts like he was scared of Jimmy Butler. These are grown-ass men. And he's talking about he's scared of Jimmy Butler. And then Karl Anthony Towns tried to show up with some energy last night, but his teammates didn't have that same kind of energy. They didn't really have his back. So the Knicks lose to the Golden State Warriors 97-94, and they lose with the fans after the game because all the talk when I woke up online was like, yo, look at these guys. These guys are soft. Look at these guys. Like, they're not mad. They just lost. Draymond disrespected them. Draymond had his antics on the floor. And all they did after the game was give hugs and kisses and daps and say, good game, good game, good game, good game. 888-808-1019. But that's what it is. We'll start there. But you know what else? I mean, I watched this whole game, and I didn't fall asleep on this game because it started at 6:30, right after 6:30. The St. John's Red Storm, the movie continues. They cut down the nets. They're sitting on R.J. Lewis sitting on top of the net, on top of the world, the beast of the Big East. 25 years in the making. Rick Pitino. I mean, we're going to talk about that as well. I'm teasing it before we go to the break and come back. It's just so much of a better story right now, right? Back home at the Garden, the Knicks are out west, but back home, there's a party in the Garden. It sounds like the Knicks were playing Zuby, Doobie, Do. That call hits every single time. We'll talk Knicks. We'll talk St. John's as well. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. I got to take a break. Dial 888-808-1019, and we'll talk about the basketball that goes on here at the world's most famous arena. It might be one of those Law of the Garden type of things. Might be one of those law of the garden type. The Knicks go down and St. John's go up. And don't look now, but the Rangers might. The Rangers might have something to say about where they're headed this spring as well. All right, call it, fan. Let's break it down. We'll be right back after this. All right. Quick open there on the Knicks. Quick open adding St. John's. Chat at. Yo. What up? Let's start with Dom Smith. Beast. Yo, you were a super glazer. Do you think that the Lakers will get another championship at some point? Not this year, but at some point. Do you still work for the fan? Do your eyes still work? What are you talking about? Oh my God. Yeah, you guys trip me out, especially you Twitter nerds, you Twitter haters. I've been fired like 5 times from WFAN in what's going on now 4 years. I've been fired 5 times. Like no, like where? No, I'm doing this is my basement. I just have cutouts of Boomer and Phil Simms in my basement. Facts. Like I said, like PJ, if you're on a 10-day with these guys, bro, you're not acting like you want to stay. You're not acting like you want to be here. Monmouth County, say that. Sure thing. Let's go Rangers. Let's go St. John's. Curry does own the Knicks. It's a curse of them not drafting him. Curse of them not drafting him. He owns them for real, for real. All right, we're coming back. I'm listening right now to the update. Let me see here. I don't know if we'll have time to do any NFL, but I'm cleaning up my NFL notes just in case. This show will be done quick. I do 5-hour shows, so 2-hour show, it's nada. It is nada. Sauce. It's facts. Oh, saucing on the fan. Call me up when you need the sauciest host. A little 2-hour Sunday sauce. Paulie back there cooking up on the 1s and 2s behind the glass. Dial 888-808-1019 if you want to talk sports. We'll start with the Knicks and St. John's, the Red Storm. But, of course, we'll get into the Mets and the Yankees, the Jets and the Giants. How could we not? I'll do it quickly, though. Just, keep up with the pace. 888-808-1019. Joe is in Middletown, New Jersey. First up on the fan. It's going. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. I was there last night. It was just an amazing feeling. feeling. I've been my freshman year at St. John's, I was a manager with the basketball team, so I went to the Final Four. I saw us lose to Georgetown, but I stayed to watch Villanova upset G-Town. And then I was there in '86 when we won the Big East tournament, and there in 2000. It's been a 25-year wait, and like you said, the Garden is ready to erupt. The fans are ready to erupt, and it's just an amazing team the way they play defense and go after the other teams.
Yeah, you love to see it. Like, I'm a big sports guy as far as like stories and movies and fandom. I always say stay down till you come up, even with a college team that you might be an alumni of. But there are people in this city that didn't go to St. John's that just root for them. And it had been so long. They so desperately needed to be revitalized, rejuvenated. And Rick Pitino coming in. And I mean, big shout out to Mike Rapoli as well. And I mean, everybody, you know, obviously those guys are going to get a ton of credit being the coach and one of the guys driving the NIL, but they have given so many people so much joy. BT's kids getting to go to the game, like BT calling the game for multiple years and now having a season like this. I feel like this is something nobody had predicted. Nobody had this on their vision board. We didn't see this coming.
No, seeing Walter Berry, Jason Williams, and all the old guys back at the Garden. Got to bring Mark Jackson back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a great scene and vibe right now, Joe. Thanks for the call. You know, that's if you were there last night, amazing. There were so many videos coming out. One, I didn't even know Creighton had fans. I mean, they might have some alumni, they might have some family members, but there's a lot of video of the back and forth between Creighton fans and St. John's fans. But like, I don't know, I didn't ever think it was a game. I didn't think it was a chance. Like, this was St. John's movie. Creighton was just playing a small part in it, like Marquette played in it. Like Butler played in it. That's who they played first. Like, it was always St. John's in their building, right? It was always St. John's in New York. It was always St. John's. Lou Carnesecca, you know, there's so many tributes. I think I retweeted BT's tweet, and you just see the confetti falling, and he writes, "This is for Lou." That video has over 51,000 views. Madison Square Garden lit up like that. It makes you actually wish that the Knicks could get there, right? It actually makes you wish that the Knicks could, like, I don't know, win the Eastern Conference at least to see what that scene would look like in the middle of Manhattan. Josh is up in the Bronx waiting to talk Knicks. Go for it, Josh.
First, it's awesome, baby. Let me tell you that. Hope you have a nice time down in spring training this week. And also, those Knicks got to stop selling Mr. Softy ice cream. No, thank you, Keith. And from the playoffs, it's a miracle.
Thanks for the call, Josh. Josh has the Dick Vitale voice, and you know, he started off the call right there with "It's awesome, baby." And I think most of us saw Dick Vitale. He had an emotional send off, talking about his experience with cancer, and man, it's just tough to watch a guy like that. I mean, he's been synonymous with college basketball forever. You know, when I was really young, I watched Duke and latched on to being a Duke fan. I don't care for him anymore now, but you know, him talking about the diaper dandies and the Cameron crazies, and he's iconic in college basketball and sports. He's just somebody that, like, everyone knows. Who you say his name, you hear his voice, everyone knows his name. And you know, I think that's an amazing thing. His life and career, they're going to make a movie about. I hope he's well. But his sign off went viral. Everybody that was paying attention to the conference championships and whatnot saw. He said, "It's been like, to me, a miracle, really, to sit here with you guys. I can't tell you how much you meant to me. It's been unbelievable. Cancer sucks." 888-808-1019. Josh said it. The Knicks got to stop selling Mr. Softy ice cream. Like, somebody does have to, like, at least push somebody, elbow somebody, knock somebody down, a hard foul. Like, someone's got to take one for the team. I just don't know who it's going to be. Moose is in Jamaica on the Fan next. What's up, Moose?
Yeah, what it do, Keith?
You're, you know, quick show.
I feel you, Sunday Sauce. Yeah, Sunday Funday. Yo, like, can I first preface this? Like, yo, you remember the days of the 90s and the 2000s with the wide TVs, those big TVs with the big, you know what, at the end of it? The big badungadunk? Okay, the crowd is screaming defense. It's you have this volume, like, it's vibrating your whole house. Like I can't watch the NBA. I listen to Brooklyn Nets games not because they're unwatchable, But like some of the offense in the NBA, like for example, this is the reason why I kind of don't watch regular season and only certain playoff series against matchups and stuff. All right, the Martin Luther King game, Atlanta in the Garden. Campaign gets the steal. I mean, Jalen Brunson gets the steal. This is the campaign. Both Jalen Brunson and Cat are running down the fast break with only Trae Young guarding them. I'm thinking Cameron Payne pass it to Jalen Brunson and leave it to Cat. No, he takes the three and makes it. I'm like, that's a bad shot. like if you did that on the court.
Yeah, if you did that in rec ball, college or high school, even college, like if Rick Pitino saw you do that, you might have to sit down.
I can't watch the NBA because of that. Like, I get it. 40% from three is better than 60% from two, but sometimes you're not hitting 40% from three.
Yeah, you got to go dunk the ball, get the layup.
I mean, at least I love the Brooklyn Nets radio because I'm playing video games with people and stuff on my time off from school and work. So like, I don't really watch TV. It's all a convoluted mess, including social media. But like, just the Brooklyn, like hearing a bad shot, it's more entertaining to listen to it on the radio than watch the unaesthetically pleasing bad offense in modern NBA, where it's either iso ball, failed pick and roll, or bad rotation missed three.
It is what it is, though, Moose. Thanks for the call, man. I know early in that game, as I saw the Warriors knocking down threes, I'm like, bad matchup. I mean, one of the, the best shooter in the world, one of the better shooting three-point teams versus the Knicks who don't guard the three well. I'm like, they are going to come out chucking up threes against them. Buddy Hield. But then through the game, they only hit 31% of their threes. They shot 41 threes and only hit 13, and a lot of them were in the first half. When I look at the Knicks, I just am like, how do they overcome? Like, I wanted to believe that, like, okay, maybe they were saving something in the regular season playing these better teams. But now I'm just like, how do they overcome the matchup that they're almost locked in to face in the playoffs? How do they get past the second round? Because if you have another year, right, you lose to the Hawks, you lose to the Heat, you lose to the Pacers in the second round. If you have another year losing to the Celtics in the second round, like, it feels like there's no progress. And then when you actually look, there's been a lot of progress, right? They have one of the better records. They win now. Like, this era of the Knicks, there's a lot more wins than the past. But like, winning regular season games isn't the goal. The goal is to get to the dance, to get to the playoffs healthy, and then to get hot and make a run. So they got to stay healthy, which they're not right now. And also, they're not tough, and they're going to get punked. And we've seen them get punked over and over and over again. So how do they overcome this? Like, I think we and the national audience looks at the Knicks the same way. We overhype them. We raise them up because they're New York's team in the middle of Manhattan. Go New York, go New York, go. But like, you can't call these dudes dogs. They're damaged, and they're not doing much damage. They can beat the Portland Trailblazers in overtime barely. They can beat the Sacramento Kings, but those are teams that they got to worry about. The top teams in the league, they have not been able to beat. Who are you going to face when you get to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's one of those things, Keith. Like, the bar has been moved. Much like the Yankees bar is always like World Series or bust, whatever. Like, right now, the Knicks bar has to be just more than like a second round like appearance. Like, Eastern Conference appearance minimum, which is saying a lot for a team when you have an injured Jalen Brunson. Cat is hurt, no matter what anybody wants to say. His right knee is really messed up, and that's going to be an issue for them. And real quick, on the subject of the Yankees and on the subject of injuries, Clark was
okay.
Shoulder.
Yeah, there was something that
He's still scheduled to throw a bullpen tomorrow, but Clark Schmidt was scratched from his start tomorrow in Dunedin because of issues in recovery.
Yeah, it's not great, but I kind of, somebody had said to me online, I was like, well, Marcus Stroman's going to be the third starter. They're like, no, Clark Schmidt is coming back. I'm like, Clark Schmidt had a cranky back. In the first start that we saw from Clark Schmidt last week, he got hit around a bit. His spring isn't going so well, and now we have this. The hits keep on coming. I guess I'll start to tease my conversation around the Yankees and the Mets. Like, every Yankee fan that I talk to, and I see Brian Hoke just put that out 11 minutes ago. Clark Schmidt's shoulder scheduled to throw a bullpen tomorrow instead of facing the Blue Jays. They've got to slow play it. We're this close to these games counting. But when you look at the Yankees, every Yankee fan I talk to is worried. Every Yankee fan I talk to is, World Series, no shot. I don't even know if we make the postseason. This is a third-place team. Pack it up. The window for Cole and Stanton and Judge is closed. I can't believe that they did this and this. And I don't feel that way. You call me a shill. You call me Yankee boy. I'm talking to you about like the St. John story and how this came out of nowhere. I look at the Yankees and I'm like, okay, they've done this next man up stuff every year. Every single year the Yankees are hurt. And other teams are hurt too. I just saw Royce Lewis look like he pulled a hamstring. There are other teams that they're without their stars and guys in their rotation. But I can't hang up a season. I can't just punt on a season. I can't just go into a season without expectations. Now, do I think that someone asked me in the chat just now, do you think that they're the best team in the American League? Do you think they're the best team in the American League East? On paper right now, no. You're going to be relying on a lot of question marks. And then also the team being put together is put together with a lot of question marks because, yeah, in spring some guys have looked good, but there's so many guys, it's their first time playing in Yankee Stadium in the pinstripe. They had the pinstripes on today, and I'm like, man, we're about to actually see Cody Bellinger for the first time. He looks ready. Paul Goldschmidt, he looks ready. But, like, they still got to flip the switch to, like, living in New York, showing up to the ballpark, playing in front of Yankee fans. And it is fast approaching. 11 days. In 11 days, the national audience will be checking in with Joe Buck on the call to see the Yankees versus the Brewers. And if the Yankees lose that game, it does not matter. As you know, these early spring training games, they don't matter. Carlos Rodon is going to get the ball. It doesn't matter. People, why can't Max Fried throw? He's not on schedule to throw. It doesn't matter who throws the first game. But the noise will start to get louder and louder. And on the other side with the Mets, it seems the Mets are they're injury proof as far as you can't rain on the Mets fan parade right now. Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Deadnil Nunez. They might be missing 5-6 guys. I'm probably forgetting somebody else that either came up lame or got hurt in spring training. So what? They got Juan Soto with Francisco Lindor, and Mark Vientos in another year, and Brandon Nimmo, whatever. Jeff McNeil, whatever. Sean Manaea, he'll be back soon enough. Frankie Montas, he's not even a Met. We haven't even seen him. Mets fans are buying tickets. They're buying merch. They got to save the city. It's all on the Mets. The Mets are one of the top teams in baseball. The Mets are going to the World Series this year. The Mets are going to contend with the Dodgers. You see their top 5 in their lineup? The Mets, the Mets, the Mets, the Mets. So, hey, if that's how we're starting off the season, I'm perfectly fine with that. These are my Mets. I've never watched and read so much about the Mets in my life. Let's run it, man. It is better to have 2 teams that are good, but if the Yankees are just, they're no good, the Yankees can't win, then come on, Mets, carry the city. Carry us, please. Let's go to Milton out in Brooklyn on the fan, the cowbell man. What up?
What's going on, Keith? Great job like always. Good to hear you on a Sunday. Talk a little sports. Real quick on my Jets. I'm super excited. I wanted Justin Fields. This guy's going to add up the running capabilities of 3rd and longs, possibly running and get his first sack. Not somebody just standing there to get sacked. He's young, up and coming still, and with experience is what I love. The fact that he's 25, 26 years old and already has experience, has been through the grind. A team that got rid of him for no reason because they got a #1 pick. Some caller told you the other day that they were trying to get rid of him. They weren't trying to get rid of him. They just happened to get the #1 pick, and
they were so bad that they
had to get another quarterback. So
Yep.
First going with the Steelers.
And not to jump in front of you, but they should have drafted Jaden Daniels.
Exactly. Well, that I even called too. I mean, I wanted him too. To me, he was the best quarterback in that draft. But listen, the bottom line is, Jet fans, you should be excited. Not because all this is I just think this was a perfect time to get this quarterback. 26 years old, experience coming in. It's going to be fun to watch. He has players that he's played with before. So, I just think this is a quarterback that this type of quarterback we never have as Jet fans.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on, man. This guy's I believe that he's going to be a surprise. He's going to be the Sam Darnold this year. I think he's just going to go out and go off. And I think it's going to be fun to watch, and the Jet fans are going to be excited for the first time in forever. Anyway, I want to keep going now. Here we go with the Knicks. The Knicks fan, we never as good as you look and never as bad as you look. I think personally, to me, and I said this before the season started, this team is built to play in the playoffs. They're going to be boring during the season because I just felt like this team was just, I think with this, the way they built, I think they're going to be better in the playoffs for some reason than what they're showing now. The coaches having problems because the players are probably saying what we've all been saying. There is no need for players to be playing in blowouts. Starters should not be in. I mean, if they're up by 30, why are the starters in there? That's the only time I complain about him. I don't complain about him playing the starters a lot of minutes because you know what? They're getting paid a lot of money. They're great.
But yeah, find some time for them to rest. And
Man, if you're up by 20, why in the fourth quarter is Brunson playing up by 20? Why? It makes no sense. That is just dumb. I think that's all that's going on. Like, listen, if we're up by 15, 20 with 2 minutes left, let these guys play. Let us sit down for them.
No lead is safe. Gotta cover. Gotta cover.
Before I go, Keith, with the Yankees, Keith, listen, the Mets fans and the Yankee fans are both opposite right now. One is too high, one is too low. We got to meet somewhere in the middle. The Yankees are going to add somebody in the middle of the season. The Yankees are going to make the playoffs. Who thinks the Yankees are not making the playoffs? You're out of your mind. This team is a very good team. Yes, they lost Cole. Yes, they got some injuries, but they're still good enough to make the playoffs. The fact of the matter is, who are they going to add to get that push? And as far as the Mets, they ain't no lot, baby. You got a deep, deep National League, and just getting Soto is not good enough. Your starting pitching is not good enough. There's going to be a rude awakening. And I do think they're both going to make the playoffs, but I just don't think for the Met fans, it's not going to be as easy as you think. And as for you dumb Yankee fans that are crying that we're not going to go nowhere, don't come to the stadium and jump on that bandwagon when we're in first. Sick and tired of these flaky fans that are always up and down. Like, it's just annoying, bro. I believe in my team. Yankees are making the playoffs. The Jets are going to make the playoffs for the first time since 2010. And the Mets are not going to win the World Series. Keith, you have
I see you opening day. Good call. 888-808-1019. I'm not going to respond to all that. We'll just break it down. When we come back, I'll respond about Justin Fields, about the Knicks minutes, and about where the Yankee fan, Met fan is and where both teams are. This is Keith McPherson on The Fan. I've got 90 minutes left. Call up. We'll be right back. I'm trying to find, if anyone can help me, there was a diagram, a graph, piece of art put together of all the Jets quarterbacks in like the last, 10 years. And I meant to save it in my notes and I didn't save it. Let me see. Did I put it on bookmarks? Yes, I did. Let's go. See, I know myself. I be knowing myself. I'm like, if I didn't put it in my notes, I probably bookmarked it. I probably bookmarked that shit for real, bro. I do this, bro. Professionally, bro. I get paid to do this, bro. All right. So I'll save it for when we come back. I just hit my funny bone. I just went numb from pinky to elbow. Man. Okay, let's see. Okay, what else did I want to do? So let me put a note here. Justin Fields, he talked about 3rd and 1. And then the quarterbacks, Knicks minutes. It's the end of the year. Those minutes are already logged. And then Mets fans versus Yankees fans, fair weather fans, expectations. Okay. Expectations and reality. Okay, let's see. Okay. My notes are set for when we come back. Let me go to my Twitter and then I'll go to the chat. Yeah, I did. I'm like, I forgot. Yep, that's right. Mets have Nick who? So I was like, I know I forgot somebody. Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, Francisco Alvarez, Jeff McNeil. Oh, and Nick Madrigal. Correct. Good looks. I'll give you credit when we come back. That's my boy Dre on Twitter, Mets fan. I'm like, I know I'm forgetting somebody. I forgot two guys, Nick Madrigal and Francisco Alvarez. Let's see here. How about Dante DiVincenzo is the answer to all his team's woes and how we traded him away? I'll mention it. He is missed. Okay, Knicks are soft. Knicks even. All right, so before I go back to the chat too, I'll let you guys get it. Like, it's like St. John's. Knicks are soft. Knicks defense. St. John's. Yankees. St. John's Giants. Okay, now let me see what y'all was talking about. Nick, what's good, bro? Lost both my parents to cancer, so seeing Dick Vitale was awesome and emotional. Kevin, I'm sorry to hear about that. Condolences. That's got to be tough. Can we talk about why no one steps to Draymond? I don't know. Big bully. Do you watch the G League sometimes? Never. Mets injuries are not that serious. Nick Madrigal counts. That's your new Jose Iglesias. What do you think about the Knicks Tibbs being buddy-buddy with Draymond after the game? I opened up with that. That can't happen. Okay, let's get right back to it. Time is burning on me. Keith McPherson on the fan, a little Sunday sauce. Quick show here, taking you up to Brooklyn Nets basketball right before 6 p.m. I opened up talking about the Knicks. Obviously, it's tough to go on the road and play 5 games and, end against Steph Curry in his building. But, the main thing is it's Draymond, right? It's okay. You get back on the floor with Draymond after he said what he said and you get punked. Like, I saw somebody in the chat was like, why does no one step to Draymond? He's not prime Tyson. What the hell? I'm like, it's not even that. Like, these are grown men in the NBA. They don't really fight. But Draymond does have a fight reel. If anybody's got a fight reel of stepping on guys, kicking guys, putting guys in headlocks, punching guys, it's Draymond. Draymond is Debo out there. Draymond might not be Tyson, but he's definitely Debo. Yeah. They're sweethearts. Yeah. No. Supposedly has a relationship with Cat's dad even. Yep. The enforcer, the agitator, the disruptor, the bully on the court. Nah, some of them do. Some of them definitely have to hate each other. Some of them have issues, but like it never spills out onto the floor. 888-808-1019. So Milton, the cowbell man, bleacher creatures, when you hear that bleacher creature, oh, you'll hear him, dunk, dunk. You'll hear him very soon. That's my guy. I mean, he hit on the Knicks, right? Talking about the minutes. And the thing about the minutes is it's the end of the year. Those minutes are already logged. No matter what you do, like obviously Jalen Brunson's injury doesn't have anything to do with minutes, but people are going to point to that. Oh, he twisted his ankle, literally stepped on Austin Reeves, but maybe his ankle would be stronger if he didn't play so many minutes. Those minutes are already logged. Here we go again. How did they lose at the end of last year? They ran out of bodies. Guys just fell, whether it was hand injury, leg injury. Guys just they weren't healthy. 888-808-1019. In my Twitter thread, when I posted, I'm going to go on air and talk for 2 hours. R.E. Nick says, how about Dante DiVincenzo? And the answer is that, or how about Dante DiVincenzo is the answer to all of this team's woes and how we traded him away. I said, I'll mention it. When you think about Dante DiVincenzo, he was tough. He'll talk smack to Embiid. He'll get in anybody's face. I think he said something to Giannis, like guys that are clearly much bigger than him, guys that like he just wasn't backing down. Delaware Jordan, the big ragu, he just, he had a chip on his shoulder. And when you think about the bench and the bench scoring, wouldn't it be nice to have Dante DiVincenzo's shooting and scoring ability coming off the bench? Jared is out on Staten Island on the Fan. Go for it, Jared. Hanging out, talking the talk.
After the season, up after their careers and stuff, but somebody got to put an elbow on Draymond's throat. I don't advocate violence, but sometimes you gotta. We're New York. We're known as the tough Knicks. We've always been the tough Knicks. You don't want to go through the middle. But Josh Hart needs to get kicked out of a game and put Draymond in the.
Yeah, Josh Hart would have been the guy to do it. He couldn't score. You didn't do anything else.
They didn't do anything. All they did was complain every time they drove, and they complained that a foul wasn't called. Oakley, Mason, Charles Smith, Ewan, Stock would have put Draymond in the fifth row.
Yeah, there's just got to be a little bit of fear. There's got to at least be the threat. It's basketball. Like there's got to at least be the thought in their mind, like, all right, I might feel this physically. Thanks for the call, Jared. And I don't want to say Josh Hart didn't do anything. One, the yelling and screaming at the head coach, that's doing something. But then he also had 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and he played defense. He had a block. He had a steal. But just going 0 for 7, 0 for 2 from deep, he was a -5. It's just a tough look. Sharif out on Staten Island next on the Fan. Go for it.
Hey, what's going on, Keith? Look, it's real simple. Last year we had an identity, we had a Ruff, we had Hart, we had Hartenstein, we had
yes,
OG coming in, we had defense, and then they broke it all up, and then they put in a couple of softies, some cotton candy dudes. Raymond, the Towns on a dribble. One, he ain't crossing over. He's just going straight line and somehow got around them to lay it up to go 4 points at that point of the game. Look, the reality of it is, and I always tell everybody, look, Celtics, Porzingis, I may say his name wrong. He may be out 3 months, but they keep winning. If
he's back,
they'll be 10 games under 500. And
yeah, well,
always look at when you look at the NBA, in the history of the NBA, when teams stay together, they eventually go through their hard times, and then they finally win some chips, and then they start. You try to keep that team together until you come up with a documentary on Netflix saying we don't want to be together no more. It is what it is. The Knicks are not going to. The Knicks, the Rangers, the Yankees, they're all going to lose to the top teams. And because, billionaires, they want to go, some people don't, they want to stay within the salary cap. They don't want to spend a couple of $1 million more and say, hey, you know what, fans, we're going to do what we're going to do. It is what it is. You just got to enjoy it. And hey, maybe the Knicks play the Celtics in the second round and Tatum gets injured and he doesn't play.
Thanks for the call. Even all jokes aside, as I have tried to think about how the Knicks advance, I have leaned on the fact that every year in the playoffs, somebody gets hurt. Somebody that is expected to be a starter, a major player, whether it is Giannis, whether it is Kyrie, whether it is we've seen it. There's too many guys. Trae Young has gotten hurt. Kawhi Leonard has gotten hurt. Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving been hurt. Like, we've seen teams not have their full complement. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. You think about all of these years, you've seen teams not have their full complement of guys. Somebody goes down, and then another team is able to emerge. But, man, you mentioned Isaiah Hartenstein, right? We can talk about Dante DiVincenzo, but not having iHeart hurts too. And there was a take that I had, and I caught a lot of flack for it. And then I'm also going to mention another take that I had, going back to what Milton said. But I had a take in the summer about how these Knicks are not going to win with this group because they kept tweaking and changing the team. And yeah, it seemed all fun and great that they were able to put the Villanova 4 together. But I was like, this is not March Madness. What those guys did at Villanova under Jay Wright is great. It does not necessarily translate to the NBA. If that is how you're trying to build the chemistry in your team, okay. But like, they kept tweaking and changing the team, trading guys. This team is not a team with a core of drafted and developed players. All of these top teams have at least two guys that they drafted and developed. And then that changes how you can spend money. That changes how you sign guys. They weren't able to pay iHeart the money that OKC paid him. So ultimately, they knew they were going to lose him. He's gone. And he's doing his thing with OKC. I mean, SGA is going to be the MVP. But like, that team, he is part of why that team has taken another step forward. I mean, they got to be the favorites. I know they're still young, and they got to go actually do it. They've got to actually come out and prove it in the playoffs. But like, right here in my notes, Hartenstein last night versus Detroit, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, doing it all. Wouldn't it be nice to have a guy like that and a guy that's tough like that? Like, it would absolutely be, but you couldn't have him because of the way you structured and built your team. You got him, and OKC was able to pay him more money. Now, back to something that Milton said that I'm like, I got to hit this in my notes. Justin Fields, he said it's going to be nice to have a quarterback that can, pick up a 3rd and long, drop back, first read, second read, nothing there. Okay, it's me versus a linebacker, or me versus whoever, and he can pick up a 3rd and 8 with his legs. He also can pick up a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1, a 4th and goal, right? He has the threat of running the ball in short yardage. The Jets struggled with short yardage last year. They didn't even know just to give the ball to Braylon Allen. They had a tight end taking a snap. Like, Justin Fields changes that. And I've caught a lot of flack for this take too about stop saying Justin Fields can't throw. You can't throw. The amount of people talking about Justin Fields can't throw the ball. No, you physically could not throw a football. If I handed you a football right now, you couldn't hit a guy 10 yards away from you, 20 yards away from you. You couldn't do it consistently. Justin Fields can make every throw. Now, he has to learn how to read NFL defenses, pre-snap read, and then snapping the ball and knowing where to go with the ball. It's an instinctual type of thing. It's a thing that like Aaron Rodgers does it with his eyes closed because he's done it for so long. But like, Justin Fields has the physical tools to throw the ball. More has come out about Garrett Wilson being elated. Garrett Wilson is thrilled to have him. You know why? Because he worked with him in college. He knows he can throw the ball, and he knows that Justin Fields is going to be looking for him as option number 1. And then also Breece Hall in this offense as a pass catcher, check down, screens. They're going to have a running and throwing offense. This kid is he's not going to be asked to read the defense, to sit in the pocket. They're not going to ask him to be Joe Burrow. And I mentioned Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow can throw for 300 yards a game. What did that do for the Bengals? What did that do for them this year? You need a defense. The Jets have a lot of good players on their defense and a defensive-minded head coach. That defense is going to get right. So if that defense is right, you need a quarterback that's going to protect the ball. Justin Fields only threw 1 interception last year in the short amount of time he played. And don't tell me that they benched him for Russell Wilson. That's what you do with a veteran with 10 more years of experience than him, 10 years older than him, rather, and a guy who's won the Super Bowl, could have won 2 Super Bowls. When that guy's healthy and ready to go, you give him the nod. They should have messed around and went back to Justin Fields at some point when they were losing 5 games in a row to end the season. 888-808-1019. Still talking St. John's, still talking Knicks, but I did want to get that point in. At some point before I go, there was a chart put up on Twitter with all of the Jets quarterbacks, and I saved it. Shout out to Zoo Kruger. Quarterbacks to start a game for the New York Jets since their last playoff win. They put together all the quarterbacks in the last 14 years. And when you put Justin Fields into that list, Jets fans are going to see a dynamic quarterback like they've never seen. 888-808-1019. Peter's in Manhattan. Thanks for holding, Peter.
How you doing, kid? How's your family?
We are great, getting ready to go to Tampa for spring training. And, you know, I care about the baseball. They care about the pool and the beach and the boats and stuff like that.
Good. Well, you're both gonna have fun. All three, you're gonna have fun. Okay, just two quick comments. So, the Yankees, I checked a few days ago. So another projected to win only 86 games. And my second point, before I get to my question, Lou Canseco was a coach of the New York Nets of the ABA, prior to coaching the New Jersey Nets, prior to coach of St. John's. But my question, Keith, is who do you think are going to be the top 4 seeds in each of, the regional and St. John's? And can you rate to me who you think is going to be the toughest matchup from St. John's, 1 to 4? So the four number 1 seeds. I don't think St. John's is going to be a number 1 seed. Maybe I'll be wrong on that. And who do you think St. John's matches up tough? Is going to be the toughest matchup. St. John's 1 to 4. Those number 1 seeds if they get that far. Keith, have a good trip, and thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for the call, Peter. I'm not going to pretend to be a bracketologist. I just start tapping in now, like watching the conference tournaments and watching now, so I can put a couple parlays together and put together, a bracket that might win. But we're all looking at St. John's now at 30-4, winning the Big East and winning the Big East tournament as a lock to be a number 2 seed. I think most people think they're a lock. I was reading an article on Bleacher Report. When did this article come out? It came out 2 days ago, so they hadn't won it, where they had St. John's as a 3 seed, and they might still be a 3 seed because, like, the selection committee, they might not value them over some other teams, but I feel like they should be a 2 seed after going and doing that. And, like, if you don't value, St. John's because it's St. John's and they play the Big East, like, it's Rick Pitino. But I expect them to be a 2 seed. The other 2 seeds that I had, Alabama, Michigan State. I see Tennessee is in there. The 1 seeds, Duke, and Duke is interesting now with Cooper Flagg going down. They were still able to win the ACC tournament, and I think he's going to come back. They can keep him out for the first 2 rounds, and he should come back and play. Auburn is another 1 seed. Houston, I think, will be another 1 seed, and Houston's a team that I've been watching recently and paying attention to recently. They're tough and they figure it out. Florida, but again, I'm not going to act like I watched college basketball between watching the Knicks, the Nets, watching the Devils, watched the Rangers game last night. I was talking to Paulie about the Rangers. I'm like, just a week ago, Rangers fans were out on the Rangers. And I felt like they lost last weekend, and it was, this team's not going anywhere. They're not going to get it done. But the game last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets was the statement game that they had to win, and they dominated them. So now I'm like, they're right back in it. Mathematically, they're in it. They've been in it. Like, how can you count them out? No quit in New York. It's a slightly different looking team, but Adam Fox comes back, and there's a lot of the same characters there. Shesterkin is still there. Why would we act like the Rangers can't figure it out here and make a run?
Yeah, no, I think the narrative that last week's game against Ottawa was a must-win game was just flat out wrong. It was a big game, wasn't a must-win game. Rangers, according to MoneyPuck.com, had a 65% chance of making the playoffs. So it's not a slam dunk, obviously, 65%. That's not a slam.
They got to get it done.
5%. It's the
5% is you're out. 65%, you can increase that to 75.
Yes, if the Islanders have a 10% chance of making the playoffs, that's tough. The Rangers have 65% home game against Connor McDavid and the Oilers tonight. Now, that's in the West. That's a Western Conference team, so not as important as a Columbus last night or as Ottawa last week, but still a game you would like to get at least a point in. But if they lose tonight, it is not season over, even though the majority of the Rangers fan base will have that mindset because it's gloom and doom. And because they don't like Igor Shesterkin getting paid that much money per year.
Yeah, but didn't he just have back-to-back shutouts? Like, if you...
Yes, Igor is a top 5 goalie. He's going to be worth every penny. He might end up being better than Mike Richter and better than Henrik Lundqvist. That is all so much in the mix. And Rangers fans have to accept that Igor's going to be here for a very, very, very long time. Not every game he's going to have is going to be good. Stupid decisions from time to time. But the majority of the time, he's a top 5 goalie in the league.
And that's the guy you pay. And then whoever's in front of him, they have an opportunity to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-0 because that guy's not letting anything pass him. 888-808-1019. We got to take a break here. Still talking St. John's. I'm going to look more into the potential seeding. It is Selection Sunday, but there's still tournaments to be sorted out. I'm watching the American Championship now, but still talking St. John's, still talking Knicks. And now I think I've got a couple Jets fans in the mix to talk Justin Fields. Keith McPherson on the Fan with about an hour left. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. Carlos, what up, man? Josh in the Bronx. Okay, Keith, more when you get back on the Fan from spring training, talking about all things sports, checking in. Yes, sir. It's awesome, baby. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll be gone all week, but I'll be back Monday, March 24th. Looking forward to it. 444, 444. Let me see something here. Working on some things. So they got Auburn, Duke, Houston, Florida as 1 seeds. And then this has St. John's, Alabama, Tennessee, and Michigan State as 2 seeds. Just working on things, chat. If you see me like this and I seem like I'm staring into the camera, I'm not. I'm reading and I'm clicking and I'm moving things. Okay, so when we come back, I will read that. Yeah, at ESPN, this is where I'm on. Let's see. Projected March Madness predictions, projected bracket. And then just take this up to the update. Break 55. Got it. I'll probably go Justin Fields. Make them wait a little longer. Richard in Manhattan. Did you see that picture of Richard in Manhattan on Twitter? I had him as like much older, glasses, wheelchair. Yeah, like sitting in the house. But I think he was a dentist. I think that was his profession. Interesting. A lot of these old guys are like that. And they write because, but that's how they came up in life. He couldn't, if I handed him my phone and told him type all of his notes into the notes app, he wouldn't get very far. It's just the way that they came up, man. They were handed a pen and pad to write things, remember things. Even now, yeah, but I don't ever write anything. Now when I go to sign my autograph for people, I'm like, this sucks. I was talking to someone about, I was talking to my chiropractor who teaches classes. He's like, these kids do not know how to take notes. He's like, we sat in lecture halls and filled up a notebook with our own notes. These kids now, they need a phone, they need a MacBook, and even then they can type, but they don't know how to like listen and take notes. And quickly, we are back, and quickly, we will be back to the next break. Keith McPherson on the fan. I got about 5 minutes here. Dial 888-808-1019. I will speed up the pace of the calls. Everything's on the table, talking the Knicks, St. John's, and the March Madness bracket, and the Jets, and now I've mixed the Rangers into the conversation. Everything's on the table here, even if you want to get into the Yankees and the Mets. Earlier, I was talking about the Mets and the Yankees as far as the injuries and how the injuries have crushed so many Yankees fans and their excitement for the season. It's all, oh, well, it's over. You know, what is this team going to be? They have no shot to win. Meanwhile, the Yankees or the Mets fans are the complete opposite of the Yankees. And I knew I was leaving out a couple names. I'm like, Montas is out. Minaya is out. McNeil, Nimmo, Dendel Nunez. And shout out to my boy Dre on Twitter. He's like, you forgot Nick and Alvy. Yeah, Nick Madrigal, the new Jose Iglesias. He's gone. And Francisco Alvarez. How could I forget my favorite Met? Luis Torrens, you're up. So nothing is breaking the stride of the Mets fans. A lot of Mets fans double as Jets fans. And I've heard from a lot of these Jets fans as I've been defending Justin Fields. We saw Justin Fields report to Florham Park. He's ready to go. He will be the Jets starting quarterback. And I'm going to lean now on this graphic of the Jets QBs to start a game since their last playoff win. Mark Sanchez, Greg McElroy, Michael Vick, who wore number 1 and not number 7 like Justin Fields is going to wear. Geno Smith, who wore number 7 like Justin Fields is going to wear. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Bryce Petty, Josh McCown, Luke Falk, Sam Darnold, Joe Flacco, Mike White, Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. And for some reason, Jets fans are acting like Justin Fields is Chris Streveler when it comes to throwing a football. Stan is in Westport, Connecticut. Stan, you got it. You're on the fan.
Just to say, man, your analysis of Fields and your general knowledge of football is really good. I mean, I am a Giants fan, but I try to look at everything and be analytical. I do not dislike the Jets. I root for them, because I like to see them do well. But I got to tell you, I think you're spot on with Fields. First off, why did he get sat down? I'm puzzled, scratching my head. He had 5 TDs and only 1 INT. Something happened, in my estimation, within the rooms, within the meeting, something went on that just didn't sit right. That's what I think. Hand up
right now. Shout out to Kenny Pickett. I just rode past my high school yesterday, and there's a big sign that like moves, and it says home of Super Bowl champion Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett expressed, his disappointment when he got benched, when he didn't get to start. He forced his way. They wanted him to dress as a third quarterback in Pittsburgh, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. I think there had to be some type of argument or disagreement back and forth when Fields was winning games and Russell Wilson was healthy and they decided to go to him. Fields probably didn't take it lightly, and they went to the veteran Super Bowl winner who's got a way different demeanor and manner, and they put Fields on the bench.
Yeah, that's, I think, exactly what happened. And then when it got mediocre or worse,
How you gonna go back to Justin Fields when you're losing 4 games in a row to end the season and then you lose in the playoffs? It's too late now.
that's right. And that's right. And I'll tell you something else. Garrett Wilson is the straw that stirs the Jets' offensive drink in my estimation.
Of course.
He is the star. He's had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He had his issues with, Devontae coming in, obviously, and so on. But I got to tell you, I think this is going to be successful. Fields has the ability. Somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody on the fan, one of the hosts put it well. If Fields was in this draft, even knowing what we know now, he would definitely be far and away the number 1 pick over Cam and Shadur. He would. There's no question.
Yeah, coming out of Ohio State and getting to the college football playoff. And I mean, now we're getting the 26-year-old version of him. Thanks for the call, Stan. Of course he would be. And when you talk about Garrett Wilson got it done with Mike White, with Tim Boyle, with Trevor Siemian, because he gets open. No one can check him. There was a point in the season where I think Braylon Allen said on Twitter, I think Garrett Wilson's the best football player I've ever seen. Because when you watch the guy practice, no one can check him. When I mean check him, no corner one-on-one can stop him. He just is always open. But he could be open for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is looking for Devontae Adams. Like, don't you remember the back and forth where we could see Garrett Wilson? He said something, I forget what the coverage was, but he was saying, like, it's this coverage, throw the fade. Like they all know when it's this coverage, you throw the fade. And Aaron Rodgers didn't throw the fade. Instead, he was looking elsewhere. That's done. They're going to simplify the offense. And, oh, yeah, Jets fans, this is a brand new offense. You haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. The NFL hasn't seen it. They're going to install it with Justin Fields. They're not going to force a round peg into a square hole. They're going to do things that work with and for him. Now, I'm not saying he's going to light the world on fire. I'm not saying he's going to throw for 300 yards. I'm saying, look at Jalen Hurts, the MVP of the Super Bowl, and the Eagles. Can we get Breece Hall going? Breece Hall was the number 2 running back rated, going into last year. It was McCaffrey, Breece Hall. They had him over Saquon. Can we get Breece Hall going? If you get Breece Hall going, it should all come together with Justin Fields. He can throw for 150 yards one game. He can throw for 200 yards one game. But if you're running the football like the Eagles did effectively, I'd be trying to model my offense somewhere like that, like the Super Bowl champs. 888-808-1019. All right, we got to take another break. 5 p.m. coming up. A little Sunday sauce. 1 more hour to go. Keith McPherson on the fan. I'll be right back. Connor Long. The number to dial is 888-808-1019, my boy. Come on down. Hedrick will start in place of Schmidt on Monday. Whatever, yo. Whatever, yo. Whatever, yo. Whatever, yo. Whatever, yo. Connor. Oh, I got the acid indigestion all the time, bro. What? Okay. Keith, why do they have to see if Aaron Rodgers signed with the Giants when they can sign? Hey, Aaron Rodgers is a song that doesn't end. Hopefully, he signs with the Vikings or the Steelers, whatever. If you played for the Yankees, what would be your at bat song? Oh, I've been asked this question. In the Bronx, we would come out to Big Pun, Tony Sunshine, 100%. But I'm not about to play it because then YouTube will flag me and YouTube will ask for copyrights and not let me monetize this video. So 100% by Big Pun and Tony Sunshine. The lyrics are, and we won't stop. We always knew we make it, even though you played it. We still made it to the top. That's like, bro. I played that song in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum. I played that song in Puerto Rico. I was in Puerto Rico when the news broke that Keith McPherson would be joining WFAN. WFAN tabs podcaster to take over for Steve Summers. Oh, yeah. When that announcement happened, I was in Puerto Rico and I played that song on loop. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know the Spanish part. Y me coro con viente, confía esperar. And we won't stop. We always knew we make it, even though you played it. Still made it to the top. Like, that is an anthem for real, bro. And obviously, that song's been out for years, so like, it's not a new song. It's just it's one of those motivational songs. It's one of those songs, if you know, you know, bro. And I would come out to that, and the stadium would rock as soon as that beat hits, and even that. That's it. Look it up. Big Pun 100% featuring Tony Sunshine. Look it up. Add it to your playlist. Gas. This show is easy, boy. This show easy, boy. Oh, my ice melted. Okay, update hitting right now. You know what? This hour, I need to do some ab rolls. I'm tweaking. Every break, we hitting the ab roller. Every break. Every break, bro. Every break, because tomorrow we go to Tampa. I might not be in the pool tomorrow night, but Tuesday, you're going to see the boy flexed. You're going to see the boy flexed up. All right, here we go. Back to the show. This show will be over quick. And we're back. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We call it Sunday Sauce. Just a little Sunday Sauce. Not too much today. A quick 2-hour show here, hitting everything. I mean, obviously, St. John's is the talk of town, as they should be. Paint the town red. If you stayed up to watch the Knicks last night, I was fading on it, and I was like, hey, usually I'm up till 4 a.m. during the week. I'm going to bed. I already know they're not beating them. Good night. And now we've talked a little bit about Justin Fields and the Jets, which we're going to do over and over and over again. Even before the show, talking to Paul, I'm like, I just can't do the Aaron Rodgers. Like all the way into the draft, are we going to talk about Cam Ward and Shador Sanders? And luckily, baseball is going to save the day. We got one more week. I'll be in Tampa all next week. When I come back on Monday, March 24th, it's going to just be hype talking about the matchups. We're going to be talking about the Astros. Framber Valdez will be the starter for the Astros versus Clay Holmes. I think Freddie Peralta is going to get the ball for the Brewers against the Yankees, and Carlos Rodon. At least that week, we're just going to be hyping up opening day and the start of 162. We won't have to just talk about where's Aaron Rodgers going to sign, who are they going to draft, how are they going to draft them.
Wrong play like I was, nothing's going to change my opinion. I hope I am wrong. I hope you are right. I don't think it was smart. But at this point, I've been saying that for about 10 days or a week, whenever he signed. It's over. He signed. He's a Jet. I hope he's really, really successful. That's great.
Yeah, and that contract, if he's not, that contract doesn't kill you. But if he is really successful, like he's yours, and you're gonna have to give him another contract, and we'll see. But we got to get there first. I think you prefer he's yours, and you can add to this team. I can't wait to see how they draft. This is the first time they're going to be in that war room together. They got to hit on the draft. But we got time for that. Let's stay where we are, right? So before I was saying I'm not a bracketologist, but I did, look. And for the most part, right, like ESPN, I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with Joe Lunardi. He does have St. John's as a 2 seed. I think they have to be. Put some respect on the Big East. So he's got St. John's as a 2 seed. He's got in the same bracket, Florida. He has them going out west. He's got Florida as the 1 seed. In the Midwest, he's got Houston as the 1 seed. And then he's got Alabama as the 2 seed. In the East, he's got Tennessee at number 2 and Duke at 1. In the South, he's got Auburn 1 and Michigan State number 2. So, it's Selection Sunday. These games are going to end, and we'll see how it all shakes out. There's going to be somebody snubbed. There's going to be somebody in a seed that we don't think. It's always fun to see where they put these guys. Like the East, they're going to play in Newark. Right? It'd be nice if St. John's could land there as a 2 seed. That probably won't happen, but all of that is to come. Let's keep living in the fact that these young guys from St. John's did it, and they did it in a great way for the city, like dominating through the year. They only lost 4 games, and they did it in the tournament. They did it in Madison Square Garden. I was having conversations on the Fan this week. I remember BT joined me, and I said to him, like, talk about, like, this kid Zuby and how he was talking about the fans chanting his name and how he couldn't control himself. Like, these are kids. And I had another point to add to that. Like, as much as we talked this week as well about NIL and what these kids make and, they're paying them like pros. Yeah, but they're not. I heard Rick Pitino say a couple of these guys are underpaid. When you think about what they did, how much money they've generated and attention they've generated for the school, and they're not done. Like, what if they go on to the Final Four? What if they go on and win this whole thing? Like, these kids are underpaid. They're also, they're not officiated like pros. If you saw last night when RJ Lewis Jr. did the Mikal Bridges 3-point gesture, and then he got teed up for it, just right there. I even was online. I saw EJ Stewart say something about it. I saw a couple other people. Even one of the kids from Creighton, number 23, I can't remember, the blonde-haired kid from Creighton, did the same thing. Did like a 3 sign, but I guess he didn't put, you know what it reminded me of in the NFL this year when they sent that statement out, like no gun gestures, and they weren't sure. Darius Slayton did a first down sign and he got flagged for it. It's just what I'm saying is these kids are officiated like amateurs still. They're officiated like it's college sports, sportsmanship, right? They don't get to celebrate like pros, and they also are very much living in the moment and taking this in like pros. Pros, this would happen, and pros would just be like, whatever, job not finished, job not done. We got more to do. These kids are taking these pictures, like you saw RJ Lewis up on the rim. They're cutting down the nets. They did cut down the nets this time, as they should. Congrats to St. John's and the St. John's faithful. Let's go to Philip in Jamaica, Queens on the Fan. You got it, Phil.
Hey, thanks for making my call. Always a pleasure talking to you. By the way, I live near St. John's. It's St. John, relatively near, and it's St. John's fever. But my question is, what do you think of the chances of winning the whole tournament? And are you concerned with their shooting, particularly their foul shooting and their three-point shooting? And don't forget who won the tournament the last 2 years. I know they beat them twice this year. That was UConn. What do you think of St. John's chances against each?
You made a great point. Back-to-back years, a team from the Big East did it. Why can't these kids do it? We talk about them and their shooting. Well, let's talk about their defense, right? They're going to shoot, but other teams aren't going to shoot as well because of the pressure of the tournament, and they're going to apply pressure with their defense. And there's so much talk about the Knicks being dogs. RJ Lewis last night, he came out, he said, we're just a bunch of dogs. Ain't nothing like playing in New York in the mecca of basketball, MSG. We're about to turn up. They're carrying the city with them. As much as we're down on the Knicks for being soft and not representing New York City, the toughness, the grit that New Yorkers have, these kids are bringing that. And I remember St. Peter's just a couple years ago, right? These kids from Jersey City, St. Peter's College, having that same New York, New Jersey grit. When you get in a tournament and you're playing against these small schools from the Midwest, or like they're not able to hoop with these kids. They're not able to step on the floor and out tough these kids, out hustle these kids. So I think they've got a good chance to actually get through. And it's going to be important that they get a 2 seed, because that will make their path potentially easier as well.
Yeah, you're not concerned with their shooting, though?
Of course, because a lot of this will come down to free throws. A lot of this will come down to big makes. A lot of this will come down to buzzer beaters and stuff like that. But I'm just going to lean on. I mean, they shot it well last night. They have enough shooters. They got to tighten up. And last but not least, let's not forget, their coach is a champion. Their coach knows what this is like. Their coach is going to lead them and have them prepared. So, all these teams have their shortcomings. They're amateurs. They're not pros. All these teams have little things that they're going to need to do better. But I look at this team with the whole city behind them and these kids and how tough they play. I think they've got a good shot. I think they're going to match up well.
Cool. Let's go with St. John. St. John's East. St. John's South.
Thanks for the call, Phil. 888-808-1019. Like, that's another thing, too. Like, this is for Queens, right? Phil lives out in Queens. So all of these years of being, by St. John's, driving by, seeing St. John's merch and logos and stuff, like, this is a different kind of year. This is a different kind of feel. Richard is in Manhattan on the Fan. Richard, you are super popular. I know you might not do too much internet, but they got a photo of you making its rounds on Twitter. It broke down the wall for me. I'm like, I've talked to Richard a bunch. Now I know what he looks like.
Thank you, Keith. Keith, you hit it right on the mark. That St. John's represents New York's grittiness much more than the New York Knicks. And it's because of defense. Now, Keith, you don't know this, but the first chant ever uttered by fans at a New York sporting event was 1956. Defense with the New York Giants, Sam Huff, Pat Cavich, Orlo Epistelli, and then a few years later, the Knicks. The New York fans fell in love with the 68, 69, 69, 70 Knicks, and the chant was defense, defense. That's how St. John's plays. They have grittiness. That team is the best defensive college team, Keith. Since the Georgetown Warriors, 1984, they had 3 guys who were the best 3 defenders I've ever seen in college. Patrick Ewing, David Wingate, and this kid that only stayed 1 year, who was unbelievable, Michael Graham. They played against Kentucky semifinals. Kentucky scored 12 points in the first half. That was unbelievable. But you hit it on the head. They represent New York much more than any Knick team. Now, as far as Justin Fields not coming back in for Russell Baker, if Bill Parcells was the coach of this, definitely put in Justin Fields. And let me tell you something. The New York Giants better draft either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. It's time for the Giants to draft a black quarterback. And they should take
Russell Wilson as a backup. So in New York, we'll have 2 black starting quarterbacks for the first time ever, and it's about time. The Yankees waited 8 years before they got Howard, Elston Howard, 8 years after Jackie Robinson came, and that was late. So let the Giants, it's time for them to do that. Now, as far as the Yankees go, Keith, we've lost Field, Cole, Cortez, Holmes, Soto, Stanton, Rizzo, Torres, Verdugo. I don't feel it, Keith. I don't feel it. And a lot of this feels to me like 1965, if the Yankees gave that World Series away to the St. Louis Cardinals, and they fell apart in 65. I just don't feel like the Yankees have it this year. I hope I'm wrong, but there's a lot of similarities between that 65 Yankee team and this 2025 Yankee team. So I'm just a little bit worried about it, Keith. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Great call, Richard. There was a lot there, but I'll try to backpedal and get to it. Yeah, St. John's, we were talking about them last night, right? They shot 52%. They shot 50% from deep. They shot 63% from the free throw line. That was much better than Creighton did. Creighton was 50% from the free throw line, 23% from deep, 43% overall. They bodied them. When you look at the bodies, the players on the team, like there are some guys, it depends on who they match up with, but like Zuby Ejiofor, who's rocking with that big man? Who's rocking with him? RJ Lewis Jr.'s got swag. This kid shooting the ball, handling the ball, like they're gonna be matching up against teams that can't rock with them. Kadari Richmond, I love the post game. Just like the lightheartedness of them asking him, hey, what was your day like? He said, you want me to walk you through my day? You want the whole day? Well, we had breakfast, we had walkthrough, and we went to shoot around, we went to nap. They're like, did you fall asleep during the nap? Of course. Like they're just these kids are becoming stars. They're captivating. They have the city on their backs. And now's not the time to think that they're going to get a rough draw in the national tournament. They should be a 2 seed. I think they will be. And I can't wait to see their course. I think their grittiness, their toughness, the city behind them, and their coach and his experience and them embodying him and how, they mimic him and his personality and how he wants them to play. He's coached them up all year for this. This is going to be a very fun run for New York City watching St. John's in the national tournament. As far as Justin Fields, the Jets, the Giants, right? Justin Fields, I didn't even bring up the black thing. It doesn't matter. But the Jets having 2 black quarterbacks in Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor, like, it's great. Both of those guys are athletic. They have different skill sets. I think Tyrod's probably a better thrower of the football on record than Justin Fields. Doesn't mean that Justin Fields can't throw the ball. There's still much to be seen. But I know there has been conversation about the Giants not drafting a black quarterback. I know they had Geno Smith. I know they had Tyrod Taylor. But it's time for them to draft a quarterback, period. Whether that quarterback is black, white, or green. This regime has to draft a quarterback. That's what I've been driving home. Shane and Dable need to draft their quarterback. They inherited Daniel Jones, and when they got Daniel Jones, they didn't like him. He was banged up. They could have picked up his 5th-year option, and they did not. And instead, they brought in Tyrod Taylor to challenge him, and he overcame those challenges. He won a playoff game. They ended up paying him because in the eyes of the GM, you value the quarterback. You don't value the running back, even though that running back helped that quarterback a ton. And when that quarterback doesn't have that running back, it doesn't make sense. I'm talking about Saquon Barkley should have got paid to be here if you're going to go pay Daniel Jones. The quarterback's best friend is a good running back. But anyway, now here we are. Daniel Jones' era is gone. This regime has to complete the Holy Trinity. I've been saying it for months. The GM, the coach, the quarterback, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. What are we doing? If you pass on a quarterback again, and I know there's a lot of fans screaming for it. Aaron Rodgers does not want to be a Giant. Aaron Rodgers is more inclined to be a Minnesota Viking and complete the circle of Brett Favre 2.0. The Giants have to draft a quarterback, and these guys are fighting for their lives. Attach yourselves to the quarterback, and that extends your life. It gives you at least another year or two, no matter what the outcome of this season is, where you have the toughest strength of schedule, where you have the longest odds to make the Super Bowl. I don't care who they draft or sign at quarterback. They are not winning the East. They are not going to the playoffs. I'll put that on record. I'll put that on wax now, just because of what we've seen. And they've made some moves here. They've added some players on defense, but it's a lot to expect them to make a jump like the Commanders did, Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, Richard in Manhattan just said to get Russell Wilson as a backup. Honestly, you draft the quarterback, whether you trade up to get Cam Ward, which I'm not in the camp of doing. There's just something in my mind that if it was me and I'm the GM of the team or the coach of the team, even the owner of the team who had the number 1 overall pick and lost 10 games in a row and then just went out there to beat the Colts and gave it back, I can't give up more assets. Again, these guys are fighting for their lives. I can't give you my first round pick next year to get Cam Ward, who might not be that much better than Shedeur Sanders. 888-808-1019. I can't do that. I can't do that. If I'm sitting at 3, and if Shedeur Sanders is gone at 3, then I'm taking or if he goes 2 and I get the 3, then I'm taking the best player available, which to them should be Travis Hunter. You have enough on defense, edge rushers. And I don't know about this thing with Abdul Carter's foot. I don't think it's going to make him drop in the draft, but you're good there. You need a quarterback. So you can't ignore the quarterback. Take him if he's there. And then if he's gone, you take Travis Hunter because he can play 2 positions. His upside is, hey, if it doesn't work at corner, maybe it works at wide receiver. I think the plan is there. I don't think that you can give up a first round, a third round, next year's first, whatever, to move up 2 spots to get Cam Ward. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders work out together. Their numbers are very comparable. They both played at 2 different schools, transferred. I just don't think that Cam Ward is just head and shoulders above Shedeur Sanders. And I also talk a lot about Shedeur Sanders, his upbringing. The bright lights in New York are not that bright to him. He's been famous. His dad's been famous. They've been rich. He cares about football and not letting his dad down. And I think his dad will also have a say if the Cleveland Browns are like, we want your son to come to Ohio. I'd rather my son go to East Rutherford and go to New York. And speaking of New York, the Yankees and what Richard just said about the Yankees and not feeling it, I understand. I'm not feeling it either. It doesn't feel great. Every time I'm on air, I'm on air for the Garrett Cole news. I'm on air for Clark Schmidt. I've been on air, like I was on air for Luis Hill. It's not great to not have your full complement of players. We didn't feel great healthy. Yankee fans weren't feeling great healthy. We lose the World Series. We lose Juan Soto. John Sterling retired. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a different vibe. That's why the Yankees threw us a bone. Okay, here's a beard policy change, right? A hair policy change. They can grow beards now. All right, you fans are tired of getting trolled in your seats as you're walking through the Great Hall, as you're walking from the bleachers to Gate 8, as you're exiting, and you're out on River Ave, and you can still hear the music, and visiting fans are trolling you saying, New York, start spreading the L's, get on the L train. All right, we'll change the song. That'll only be our win song. But if you're a Yankee fan, I understand. You go to the World Series and you get embarrassed like that. You go to the World Series and you lose like that. You go to the World Series and they smoke 2 Garrett Cole starts, taking him out, throwing Nestor in, the defense hanging him out to dry. And no, he doesn't cover first base, but somebody should have picked him up. It sucks. But at the same time, you don't throw away a season. You don't punt on a season. There are guys that are wearing the pinstripes for the first time that can't wait to play in Yankee Stadium. We're going to be behind them. And Brian Cashman knows just 2 years ago, they had a Fire Cashman night. They were wearing Fire Cashman shirts. It is his job to figure it out. It is his job to help this team. And they will. Let's see how it goes. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan, taking your calls till 5:50. Let's break it down and we'll be right back. If you played for the Yankees, what position and what number would you wear? All the numbers that I wore playing are retired. That's a good question that I haven't thought of. Let me think now.
Back 10:45.
Okay, damn, I'm out of here quick. Let me check the train. Da, 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 da. So I'm about to get up out of here and get the train to New Jersey. I'm not about to run. I'll take the 6 o'clock train. Yeah, I'm not about to run. I'll get the 6 o'clock train. Okay. What number would I wear? What number would I wear? What number would I wear? 18? 19? I wouldn't want a number. I'd want like I wore 4, 8, 11, and 16. So I couldn't there, I couldn't or maybe I'd wear 0. Yeah, I'd wear 0. Like Stro, like Domingo wore. I'd wear 0 or I'd wear 13. Jazz is wearing 13, or I'd wear 17, 18, 19. I wear a low number. I'm a skinny guy. I wear a low number. And I'd play center field. That's what position I played. I was always fast. I was always a long strider, runner. Oh, and I was supposed to do some abs. I'm tweaking, bro. Let's get these abs in while I'm here, bro. Hit this ab roller. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't got time to work out. I'm either in shape or I'm not, We'll see. I'm in shape. I'm not gonna front. I'm in shape, bro. I know I am. I'm not gonna front like I'm not in shape, bro. I've been working. I've been eating right. I've been supplementing. I've been in the gym. Those tournaments are lit today. Yeah. Champions being crowned. It's always a good time, honestly. It's always a good time. All right. That's situated. You already know. About to go to the crib. About to go home. And then I'm in the air. Going down to Tampa, Florida. Let's see. Keith, you were doing a great job hosting. Big fan. You are the new talent. I love to keep sports talk great on WFAN. We're going to let that one stay there. We're going to let that ride right there. Okay. Okay, my last little run. My little Sunday show. We call it Sunday Sauce. It's sauce, not gravy. Keith McPherson on the fan, Talking sports. What else? In here watching the American Championship, UAB versus Memphis, as we await Selection Sunday. Obviously, we've talked a lot of St. John's. We've talked a lot of Knicks, and also obviously got to the Yankees. Not too much Mets, but, that's because the Mets are good. Don't even worry about the Mets. The Mets are going to win the division. The Mets are probably going to the World Series. And who knows what's going to happen with the Jets and the Giants, but at least the Jets said, okay, yeah, we're moving on from Aaron Rodgers. We know who our quarterback is. We're going to go get him. Got him. And you got a good backup quarterback. And we'll see what Jordan Travis looks like at some point. So use all your draft picks on stacking that defense. You got a couple spots to plug. There was even, the Jets made some moves too. Let me do this right now before we take another call. because I didn't have a lot of time. Man, the Jets, if you're paying attention to their free agency tracker, they're adding some players that are players and that I think are going to be solid players to add to the team. Eddie out on Rockland. Eddie, you're on the fan. Good. How are you? No, they missed me. It's funny you said this. Someone wrote on one of my comments. They're like, Keith, you're the best quarterback. I know you should have coached some quarterbacks in high school. When I was 23, I tried to get a job working, and they passed on me. I wanted to coach JV. Me? Nah, Dave is a pro's pro. Dave has a ton of experience. He's got his own signature calls. It's spring training. They're just getting started. There is nothing I can teach Dave about how to call a baseball game. No, I don't. Thanks for the call, Eddie. I don't produce the show. I'll say this: like, I like Dave's giddy up, get going, something like that. Is giddy up as the ball is going out. Dave is an icon. You might not know him yet. You'll get to know him, but he's a guy that, speaking of college basketball, he's called a lot of college basketball games. I've got a ton of respect for him because I got to go out to Seattle, and when I was working with the Players Alliance during the All-Star game, we honored him. And, you know, those fans out there in Seattle love him. We'll get used to him. It's a change. It's a difference. Like, you know, I always throw in that John Sterling retired because, like, this is a different era with the Yankees. What we don't really realize is, like, how much changes so fast. They have beards now. Frank Sinatra, New York will only be played after wins. That's like, it is a shift. And I just hope that with this shift, it's not a down year where they struggle. They missed the postseason, like, because like that sucks. And you can't waste another year of Judge. And obviously Cole is completely gone. And who knows, Stanton is hurt again. Who knows when he's coming back? It's to waste another year of the MVP Aaron Judge in his prime. It is what it is. I'm sure Judge kicks himself. I'm sure Judge is down on himself because he's gotten to the postseason a bunch of times here and had opportunities to drive in runs and win games and didn't come through. So it's as much on him as it is the Yankees organization and the players around it. But yeah, we are just in a shift here, Yankee fans. It's, you know, it's good that they got to the World Series last year and ended the drought as far as appearances. But like, we might be on our way to one of the longest droughts matching, you know, longest droughts in history without winning a World Series. It's hard to win a World Series. There are teams out there with a whole roster of deferred contracts. There's a $1 billion owner in town, right? Like, you know, take the money out of it. It's baseball. There's an extra team added to the postseason. The rules have changed. There's a pitch clock now. There's bigger bases now. They've banned the shift now. Now we're about a season away from them being able to challenge balls and strikes. It's a different game. It is a completely different game, atmosphere. You know, as many people are so critical of the Yankees changing, I'm like, I always say evolve or dissolve. All businesses have to change. I think the joke I've been making is like, yeah, tonight you can't go to Blockbuster and rent your favorite movie. Pick up some candy and some popcorn. Those days are long gone. Blockbusters don't exist. There used to be a Blockbuster in every town, right? Things change. You got to change with the changing times. And I think that's what the Yankees are doing. But also, I look at the Yankees and I said this, they have a self-imposed, you know, ceiling on how much they're going to spend, budget on their team. They said that they're good at 308 million, and they stopped there, right? After being willing to pay Juan Soto almost 50 million a year, they reallocated those funds. And, you know, when you look at this team and the allocation of funds, like, you're paying a lot of money to Stanton, who can't play, Cole, who can't play, DJ, who can't play. It's tough. It's tough to win like that. So you are going to rely on some young guys that have to grow up, and you're relying on some old guys that still have to have it and turn back the clock. But like, I guess, you know what, for me, I'm more excited because I get to go to the games. I didn't grow up going to the stadium. And that's why I tell you young guys that tell me, hey, my mom took me to, even if your parents could take you to one game, thank them, hug them, tell them you love them. Because like, being able to be in that atmosphere, being able to be in that culture, that's what I look forward to. When the stadium is closed, when we can't go up and see the Yankees and physically be there, like I'm there, bro. I don't care. I've been there for 10 years consistently going to games. I'll go by myself. It is a fun time. It's my favorite place to hang out in the city. There's so many people that I only see there. I'm not just kicking the season. I'm not just punting the season. I'm not just saying they can't win. They're gonna win games. They're gonna figure out how to win games. I'm not coming out and saying that they're winning the AL East or winning the World Series, but you don't have to win your division. You don't have to win the American League, or you have to win the American League to get to the World Series, but you don't have to win the division. You don't have to be the best team in the American League. You just got to get in. And there's an extra team in the postseason. And maybe their route is to not be the juggernaut. Maybe their route is to not be the just odds-on favorite. Maybe they have to stay afloat, stay alive, and actually go for it at the deadline. And maybe we do have to part ways with some young prospects that everybody's going to call up asking for. Jason Dominguez, Will Warren, George Lombard Jr., Spencer Jones. It's going to be tough. We're not going to part with those guys, right? But something's got to happen here. Something's got to happen. And guys got to get healthy. Heels got to come back. Stanton's got to come back. They got to find another ace with Cole down. Judge has to be the MVP. He can't have a slow April. There's no Juan Soto here to pick him up. He can't have a slow April. I think we're going to be very happy with what Cody Bellinger is. I think we're also going to be very happy with what Paul Goldschmidt is. Volpe, you got to get it together, bro. This year, this is a big year, Volpe. Offense and defense. Wells, you too. You're going to be a leadoff hitter catcher. Like, it's time. Dominguez, you as well, buddy. Left field is yours. Be obsessed with being good at it. And then no fill in the blanks elsewhere. Cabrera at third. You got the nod, kid. Take advantage of it. They are the New York Yankees. And when they say they're the New York Yankees, they play in the Bronx. That place will be sold out at many points of time this year, whether fans are high on the team or not. It's Yankee Stadium. And there are diehard fans like myself. There are season ticket holders of Bleacher Creatures, people that their family culture, their family traditions are to go to the stadium. They're going to be there. They're going to be there. So the Yankees have to show up. And they know in that stadium, you can hear it and you can feel it. They know they got to post. They got to show up every day. They got to bring it. There is no laying down. There is no woe is me. There is no licking our wounds. Next man up. 888-808-1019. Gary is in Waterbury, back on the Fan. The girls scream like I'm Keith. Hey, I hear your brother in the background. Dude, there are people that may mock John. They hated John. Last year, we had Emmanuel Barbari. Shout out to E-Man. We had Justin Shackle. Shout out to Jay Shack. We had me on the call. We had Brandon Tierney on the call. We had Craig Card on the call. And people hate all of us. So it's like we can never win. Yeah, and Dave will too, but it's got to be a playmate. It's got to be a home run. It's got to be something worth, screaming about. $48. I'll take 10 off from last year. And you know what? Like, a Judge might miss some time with an injury. Who knows? Not to put that negative energy out there. And for the Met fan out there, you'll never hear me say Juan Soto isn't Juan Soto. You haven't heard me say that for months. There is an effect of not having Juan Soto in that lineup. There is an effect of not hitting behind Juan Soto. There is an effect, like the effect is going to travel to Queens. Let's see what Lindor looks like with Soto behind him. Let's see what Vientos and Pete Alonso look like. Like, Soto is different, bro. Soto is a rare Pokemon. Soto is worth all that money and that hype. He's a different kind of dude. He's a different kind of dude. Mike is in New Rochelle on the Fan. Hello, Mike. What's up? Thanks. Thank you. Awesome. You went at the right time. Yeah.
I think you broke that down pretty well too. Like, I do agree. Like, I've changed my tune. I feel like if Ward's not there, then I agree. You take Sanders, and then you take one of those other guys, right? You take, Abdul Carter, or you take Hunter. But my question is, like, what are they doing with this quarterback trying to sign someone? Like, I don't get it how they haven't signed Russell Wilson. And my thinking is maybe we really need to audible to, a different quarterback, like a Jameis Winston. I feel like Jameis Winston, perfect guy. And you know what? I'm sick of these guys. Like, they're so worried about their job. That's why they're looking to bring in, Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. But the right guy to me, maybe is Jameis. So,
Thanks for the call, Mike. Yeah, I said Jameis is ready. From the moment Saquon at the Super Bowl took that question from Jameis and said, hey, I'm looking for a job. Where should I go? And Saquon was like, New York needs a quarterback. It might be Jameis. Because if Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota, the Steelers are probably going to say, hey, Russ, come back. Who are the Steelers going to sign? They got Mason Rudolph right now. Who are the Steelers going to sign? The Steelers might have to tell Russell Wilson to come back. And I think he would come back because at the end of the season, he said he wanted to come back. So that would leave the Giants needing a veteran quarterback, needing a quarterback with experience in that room. Sign Jameis Winston. All these other guys, like Cooper Rush is with the Ravens. Gardner Minshew signed. I think with the Chiefs. Where did Gardner Minshew sign? You wouldn't want him anywhere. You wouldn't want him anyway. He could go anywhere. Yeah, the Chiefs. So, like, as these guys disappear, Marcus Mariota went back to the Commanders. They need a veteran quarterback. They've got Tommy DeVito. It needs to be veteran quarterback, rookie, Tommy DeVito. Those are your three quarterbacks. And like I said before, it doesn't matter that the quarterbacks are black. It matters that it's a quarterback, period. They need to draft a quarterback. They haven't drafted one in the last two drafts. They inherited Daniel Jones. They signed guys like Drew Lock. They had Tim Boyle in the game. You need your own quarterback. For this GM and coach to survive the last two terrible seasons, okay, here you are. You might not. The world doesn't have to be wild about these quarterbacks. The evaluators don't have to be wild about these quarterbacks. You need to draft one of these quarterbacks and develop them. And Shedeur Sanders is pro-ready. Shedeur Sanders is accurate. His dad is a Hall of Famer and has been preparing him forever for this. I think Dable can work with him. We know Malik Neighbors has a relationship with him. They were throwing a football on the street. The kid is, if he's there at 3, you take him. I don't think Cam Ward is that much better than him, where you move up and you give up assets. This regime can't afford to do that. And I'm starting to think more and more now that was all smoke and mirrors from the Titans anyway, to see what they could get from other teams calling about moving up to 1. And now they're probably just going to take Cam Ward because they only have Will Levis. And, we're gonna do this for the next few weeks until the draft. But the last thing I said about it was like, hey, if these guys are coaching for their lives, if they attach themselves to a quarterback, they can go out there and only win 4 or 5 games. And it's like, well, if it's Russell Wilson or it's Jameis, and let's say Jameis makes it through the first 4 weeks and then gets benched, and then it's Shedeur Sanders show. Well, that's the promise for the next year. Hey, we're developing a young quarterback. Simon is in New Haven on the Fan. What's up, man?
Hi, Keith. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. I wanted to talk about these injuries. What is going on with these Yankee injuries? It's like, what?
All the time.
Who gets hurt? This one gets hurt.
And the Mets too, yeah.
Just taking the pain.
It's baseball activities. These guys go home for a couple months. They have a holly jolly Christmas, Happy New Year. They come back, they start throwing and running, they get hurt.
I mean, it seems like I don't know what to do do here? I want us to get to the World Series again. I love Judge. He's a gift from God. He got to be on these plays. Plays in the paint. Look at Don Manley. The guy had a bad back. He wanted to play. Look at Thurman Munson. He got roughed up, taped up, beat up, played with ice, but he played through the pain. Guts a Yankee. That's what we need.
Thanks for the call, Simon. Yeah, there's a difference between being hurt and injured, right? Some of these guys are hurt and they'll have to champ it out. Some of these guys are injured. They're out. They can't go. And luckily, it is March and the season starts really into April. April being the, 4th month of the year. We don't have to play the World Series until the 10th month of the year. There's plenty of months in between. Dante is in Bloomfield on the Fan. You got it, Dante.
Hey, Keith, how you doing today? How are you?
I'm good, wrapping up in the next 2 minutes. So what you got?
All right, I just wanted to tell you real quick. I'm not a huge baseball guy. I'm more into football. But last year, my girlfriend, who I'm making my fiance this year, she took me to a baseball game for my birthday, and they played the Orioles, and that atmosphere was just crazy. Despite the fact that they lost and the game went to extra innings, the atmosphere was just insane. And plus, she had my name in the billboard saying happy birthday.
So you in now? You with us now?
I guess you could say that. I'm not in baseball, like I said, but the atmosphere at Yankee Stadium is unbelievable. Like they show a lot of love too, and it was crazy. I had a good time, and the vibes was just awesome.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Thanks for the call, Dante. Like, that place opens up again on March 27th. I'm not walking in there like, oh, well, we can't win the World Series. Everybody's hurt. What's the point? I don't even want to be here. I'm walking in there like, let's go. I'm walking in there like, Happy New Year. We back, baby. Let's see. Let the games begin. 162. Let's see. Everybody's got injuries. Somebody will rise. Let's see how it shakes out. You can't predict baseball. And I'm not trying to predict it. I'm trying to watch. And then I'll get on the Fan after and take your calls, and we'll talk about what happens every night. All right, I'm out of here. Coming up next, your Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas is done. But, they got a bunch of other dudes. Let's see if they can beat the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Thanks for listening. I'm out for a week. I'll be back on March 24th. You guys enjoy the time. Lil Sunday Sauce. I'm out of here. All right, that's it, folks. That's it, folks. And I'm not in a rush because, like I said, I'm gonna get the 6 o'clock train. I'm not running. There's a train in 5 minutes. I'm not making it. I'm not about to run. Oh, I gotta answer the rest of the questions. What do you think of Dave Sims broadcasting with the Yankees? I think Dave is a pro. I think that people will come to like the dynamic between him and Susan as two baseball historians with a lot of knowledge on the game, past and present. And I think it's just an adjustment. I think it's an adjustment from the character that John Sterling was on air to the character that Dave will play on air, and he's not playing a character. He's being himself. You know what I'm saying? So, Mark, appreciate it. Mark, there's your shout out. Sorry if you were looking for a shout out on air. I didn't know if you meant it on air, but here's your shout out. Appreciate you, bro. All right, that's it. Everybody be good. I will be in Tampa. So I'll probably do some Instagram lives from Tampa. I'll probably do some TikTok lives, because I'm not going to be on the MacBook, but it's only a few days. Flying down Monday. When you have a kid, you don't do long trips. Doing long trips with a kid, not fun. Because like the baby, like my son is a baby, you need the baby to be good, right? And the farther you are from home and all the things that the baby needs, the more challenging it gets. So, yeah, not a long trip. Just going down. I'm going to try and see the game on the 18th if you're down in Tampa, and the 19th if you're down in Tampa. So, it's a day game, night game. And maybe I'll join the call with Dave Sims and Susan if they allow me. Thanks for allowing me to talk sports on this stream and the radio station. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a good night and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.